Okay, guys, we have a great lineup of lightning talks for you today. We just, as organizers, we thought, is it really a good idea to put on a developer conference in 2023 without the word AI in it? No, we think no. Plus, all the venture capital firms seem to really like us now that we have the word AI in our conference. They wouldn't give us a call back before then. So we have 4 lightning talks in this session. It's a 40-minute session. We have 4 lightning talks. They're pretty short, 5 to 7 minutes each, and we'll do quick changes, and so you're going to get 4 bursts of AI-themed lightning talks in this session. First up, we have Lucas Castro, then we'll have Joe Skeen, then we'll have Jace Wardell, and Justin McMurdie. And we're probably just going to let them hand off quickly. I won't take a lot of time between them. And so now, will you please join me in welcoming Lucas Castro?
Try to put this here. Okay. So just a brief intro. My name is Lucas. I am from Brazil. I've been living here in the United States for about 4 years now. I recently graduated from BYU, but now I'm living in Nebraska. My wife is from there. But I came back here just for this conference. I really love UtahJS. So yeah, another disclaimer too. I'm not an AI expert. What I'm going to talk today is probably going to maybe not be super advanced stuff. I'm just talking about some workflow that I found when learning new things and how AI can be useful there. This past year, I actually had to learn about, I would say, 2.5 languages because I don't feel like I finished learning the second one, the third one. And I actually have been leveraging a little bit GitHub Copilot, specifically Copilot Chat, to help speed some of the startup time when learning a new language. So a question first, how many Go programmers we have here? Well, I'm asking about Go in a JavaScript conference, that's funny. But, okay, so you guys are going to tell me whether or not what I'm going to ask to chat here is correct or not. So I've been trying to learn Go just because I want, and I'm very aware it's a JavaScript conference, so just bear with me. And I've been noting some arcane syntax to me. I've learned C this past year because of school, and school is a torturous process. But C has this concept of structs. Like I was able to kind of understand what's going on reading this code here, code that I found in a book, by the way. But then I came about this little signature for a function that I think was a little bit kind of different. What does that mean? Maybe because I'm ignorant, I couldn't really find in the documentation something fast to answer me. But actually, GitHub Copilot Chat was able to provide like some clarity to it. So I asked, I always start with hi Copilot because AI overlords. So I always ask, so I understand most of the signature, but this piece here, the point with what looks like to be a pointer, is unfamiliar. Care to explain? I don't know how to type anymore. Okay. So it's going to load. It's thinking. Certainly. In Go, that part there is a method's receiver. What the heck does that mean? It is a way to define a method on a custom type. In this case, Lexer is a custom type read number. And then it keeps going. My understanding was, I could recreate the whole conversation I had with Copilot about this. But my understanding is that although I can't really create classes in Go, I can define a struct, which looks like an object, and I can attach methods to it or behavior to that struct by using this little notation here, which I thought was very interesting. And then, I went on this really interesting conversation with a robot about classes and how does that work in Go, since Go doesn't really have classes. But I really then, that was my epiphany of how I can actually use Copilot Chat to learn programming languages. So I prepared this little document here. This is on Notion. Nothing really crazy. And when I am learning a programming language, whether, I'm using language here very widely, but any piece of technology, really, frameworks you can even include here. This is usually the process I go through. They are not stages, they're not phases, but they're kind of like states that may happen in a particular order or not. I start by doing language exploration. So I try syntax, I read documentation, I make note of arcane notation, what I call it. And then, I try to find answers for those. I then, at some point, I start doing some coding problems, go on LeetCode or, Code Wars, even Advent of Code, and try to, understand how I use some data structures with that language. So very minor problems that way. Then I build a minor project, something that I'm very familiar with, something that I've already built in a language that I know, right? And it won't take too much time to figure out all the little design decisions that I need to make. And then the last thing, only when I complete that, I can say that I know a language, is when I do a capstone project, when I build something end-to-end using that language and some tools in that language ecosystem. And my proposal here, and I'm not going to read all of this. This is, and I can post the link on Slack. But my proposal, what I'm trying to do here is how I can integrate Copilot chat in each one of these states. Language exploration, it's pretty clear that I can just have straight-up conversations and I can ask Copilot. I need to be careful to not just take, Copilot can sometimes hallucinate. That's why you still need documentation. But I do feel it's very convenient to just open up a chat session right there in my editor and, start talking about it. Coding problems, I've particularly used as kind of like a cheat sheet. Sometimes I need to remember how to instantiate a list or a queue or maybe even a tree or, draft a little algorithm. And I can ask Copilot to just give me that cheat sheet. Don't use that in interviews, though. That's not very looked good upon. Familiar projects, that when I would usually just let Copilot handle most of the stuff, generate boilerplate. So I have that exposure. And I already know how to build this particular project in another language. So I don't need to figure out those little details of boilerplate. So that's when I would actually use Copilot, not the chat, but actually Copilot, to help set up that project and actually use it as a pair programmer. On the capstone project, though, I try to avoid Copilot altogether and just use chat, kind of like a rubber duck, kind of like a coworker that you meet at a water fountain and you talk about this bug that it's been, giving you headaches. I've had really interesting philosophical conversations with Copilot chat. This may tell that I don't talk too much with people. I may seem comfortable here right now, but I'm scared of talking to you individually. And anyway, I try to escape using Copilot at most in this capstone project because this is the part where you really need to put the work and figure out how to build something. We don't want to over-rely on AI. This has been working well for me. I'm still learning Go. I still haven't built this capstone project. I'm trying to build a little interpreter with Go. But this has worked for me in learning C#, learning C for school, and trying to learn some cool JavaScript frameworks that I tried this past year. And it's been working great. And I would like to introduce that. Maybe you guys thought about it or not, but I thought this was a cool thing to introduce. I'm happy to talk more about it if you have questions, and I'll be here, sitting here in the front row, and trying to escape much people in the after, but you can always reach out to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Lucas. Next up, we have Joe Skeen. Please welcome Joe.
All right. Give me a moment to fumble with all of the doohickeys here. I have a 10-year-old MacBook that only works with one of these things. So, all right. I think I have that, and let's see about this. Nope, it's upside down. All right. Should I hire ChatGPT by raise of hands? Who says yes? Who says no? That's not everyone. We're going to do this again. Who says yes? Who says no? Okay, well, it's closer, but let's do it one more time. Who says yes? Who says no? All right, well, we'll see. Oh, my gosh. Woohoo! All right. I don't have a whole lot of time here, but I did want to do a quick plug. I help developers and teams write better code, teaching them how to be successful. If you are interested in that, here's my card. Help feed my family. All right. Should I hire ChatGPT? Let me tell you a story. Back when I started developing, there was not really an internet to speak of. How I learned to do most of what I do was, did back then, was through a tutorial book. And it was on Borland Delphi. And I took that and I read it and I created some little apps as a little 8-year-old, button clicking, silly little simple apps. And that kind of helped me get going. Now, the internet came along, and when the internet was new, I started learning the web. And there wasn't a lot of good resources out there yet. There was, I think W3 Schools kind of came along mid to late time I was learning web. And I actually, one of the first things I did with the first printer that I bought was print out the entire PHP handbook so that I could have that on hand as a reference. Now, going from having a book in physical form to being able to look up things on Stack Overflow and things like that, you can imagine that was definitely very helpful as a developer and only helped to accelerate my learning and my ability to put together code and to do things in a better way. And then, Stack Overflow came along, and we all know, at home, my keyboard, literally, the C and the V are completely rubbed off. All the other letters are fine. So here's the question. Should developers be able to use ChatGPT? Yeah, absolutely. Should they 100% trust what they see on ChatGPT? You always want to take it with a grain of salt. In my experience, I actually tried doing a technical interview with ChatGPT, and after having interviewed a lot of developers, I kind of decided that ChatGPT, in its technical abilities, and maybe it'll get better in the future, but as of right now, it feels like a really fast intern, right? It can whip out some repetitive code really easily. It's not great at critical thinking. It's not gonna be answering all of our questions of, problems that have been plaguing us. It's not gonna be like, hey, ChatGPT, what's the cure for cancer? Boom, we get it, right? That's really not what ChatGPT is about. But what it does help with is kind of making your ability to search the web through all the stuff that it's kind of ingested along the way a little bit more approachable for normal people. I've found that research is something that I do a lot as a developer. I sometimes joke that I do 80% searching the web and 20% coding. And I found that I'm not to brag or boast or anything, but I feel like I do pretty good when I'm searching the web at finding my answers. I feel like not everyone is as good at that. And I think ChatGPT and other AI type tools are gonna help a lot with that. So what's the real verdict at the end here? We've got probably some people out there that, and this is really what this whole question boils down to, there are some people out there that feel like AI is going to take our jobs. Does anyone feel like they've had a friend that feels that way. I've talked with a few people that are kind of scared that their job's going to be taken by AI. As long as there is a need for critical thinking, as long as there is a need for solving new problems, developers are never going to be replaced by AI. However, AI is going to make our jobs so much easier and allow us to stop doing the mundane things, allow us to start doing the actually interesting things, the problem solving that we really want to do. So I just decided, hey, what the heck? I'll just ask, should I hire ChatGPT? For your viewing purposes, take your time reading, okay? Yep. Okay, never mind. I don't really care what ChatGPT said. Who here feels like ChatGPT is a good thing and you want to use it, or, you know, similar, Copilot, Bard, whatever. Who's going to be using AI going forward? Definitely. Does anyone genuinely feel like, you know, it's going to be really, really bad for you if you're trying to be a developer and using AI? I don't think anyone's going to be brave enough to raise their hand. Just embrace the tools, but remember that they are just that. They are tools. They are a means for helping us to become what we want to be, and that is being really awesome developers. Keep that in mind, and you shouldn't have any problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Next up, we have Jace Wardell. Please welcome Jace to the stage. Hold this or no?
Oh, we'll put it there. That's good. Sorry, just trying to sort this stuff out. There we go. Nope, not quite. So you're going to have to bear with me a bit because I had a cold like last week, and I'm still trying to get over it. I've got the most hardcore cough drop I could find. It like is numbing my throat. So hopefully that works out. And I cannot sort out this. No, that's what I need. Okay, so jumping into it. So my talk's going to be about coding with AI, specifically Copilot, and also a bit of ChatGPT. So a little intro about myself. My name's Jace Wardell. I am a staff engineer at Breeze Airways. Previously, I was a mobile developer until I saw the light of JS and switched over. And I've kind of run the gambit. I was a manager at Breeze. Realized I like technology somewhat better than people. Didn't want to deal with people. So yeah, that's where I landed now. I'm a staff engineer. And that's pretty much my only social. I don't do much with social media. So if you want to find me, ask me questions, hit me up on LinkedIn there. So a little bit about Breeze Airways. We've been flying planes for 2.5 years. We have about 50 airplanes. We get 1 additional airplane each month. We have currently 35 cities. Well, it might be 36 now. We announced one more a few days ago. And we fly about 115 routes between these different cities. So something else about Breeze is we kind of try to do things our own way, where we try to target markets that have less competition. So 95% of our markets have 0 competition. We're a low-cost carrier, but we try to have premium features such as Wi-Fi with specific fares that you can buy. We have other premium features, and I'm blanking on them. My notes aren't showing up here, but we're awesome, is what I'm trying to say. The other thing is we approach everything with niceness. That's one of our key values as a company. We try to interact with our guests with niceness, with each other, and so forth. And my favorite thing is we have a heavy focus on technology. A lot of airlines are kind of old school, kind of set in their ways, and we're trying to do things a bit differently and more modern, having a more modern approach to it. A big problem comes to light, though, with this quote from Peter Thiel, who's a German businessman. He said, in the entire 100-year history of the airline industry, the cumulative profits in the U.S. have been approximately zero. So that's one of the main things I've learned as coming into an airline. The profit margins are very slim. It's very hard to make money in the airline industry. And if you're lucky, you'll make a few bucks off of people. And if they buy alcohol, you'll make a few more bucks off of them. So that helps. So when AI started to get bigger and expand, we wanted to use it to our benefit. So we had the question, can AI tools improve developer productivity and experience? And so here's what we learned. Well, first of all, the experience that we did is we got together a few of our developers, a handful of our developers, and we had them sign up for simply the free Copilot license, just the free month. And we had them use it just in their day-to-day programming. And so this is what we learned at the end. This stat on the left is from Pluralsight Flow. I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but it's an impact score that is supposed to show, how much influence in the company and the code base a developer is having. And so what we saw is in most cases with most of our developers, we saw an increase in their impact metric. So it seemed like their productivity increased. One other thing we discovered is that a lot of developers kind of messed up our experience, me included, because we initially set out to do it with just Copilot, to test with Copilot. But then a lot just naturally shifted towards ChatGPT for a lot of things. And one of the reasons they did that is because they wanted more kind of explanations for the code, like why does this code work how it does? So a lot of our developers picked up ChatGPT along the way, and they used that in their coding. One other thing that we discovered is that junior developers still felt the need to double check the AI. So here's a fun little meme on the left. You got junior developer here. It says, how do I write code with no bugs? And senior developer says, that's the neat part, you don't. So yeah, a lot of times they would want to double check their code with a senior developer. They didn't fully trust AI, which, no one should fully trust them. They'll often have errors. You have to double check the code. So some conclusions we came to at Breeze was that AI tools are used in many ways. So some developers use them to get just purely code suggestions. Some use them to generate unit tests. Some use them to kind of get more context of a function or a tool. There is a learning curve. Like I said, people didn't fully trust it, and it's not only because AI will hallucinate at times, it's also because you have to learn how to prompt AI to get what you want. So that was the learning curve for a lot of our developers. And then there's also no plug and play, no silver bullets. You can't just put this on your team and expect 100% increase in productivity. They need to learn it. They still need to know how to code. They need to go through the output of AI, and they need to find any errors. They need to test it, all that stuff. And that's what we discovered at Breeze Airways. So if you have any questions, I'm sitting up here. Like I said, you can hit me up on LinkedIn if you want. If you have any questions about AI and if it can work for your organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Jace. Now please welcome Justin McMurdie.
Thank you for everyone who said hi back. This is going to just work now. All right, cool. All right, just a tiny bit of intro. My name is Justin McMurdie. I am an AI expert. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. It is okay. So I am not an AI expert. Just to be completely clear, I was told very explicitly that I had to outline that that was a joke. So let's talk about codemods. Who attended the excellent talk earlier today about codemods and ChatGPT? Well, there's also other ones. So you can just leave. You're done. That's my talk. Everyone else, you get a repeat that's not as good. So I want to present a semi-fictitious scenario. You are a junior dev, or maybe just a senior dev, I don't know, and you've never written a code mod before, and you're not familiar with the kind of complicated representation of code that is known as an abstract syntax tree, or an AST. And you get a JIRA issue from your team's senior engineer saying, migrate all usages of awesome components with a code mod to meet the new API. And then the senior dev took a 6-month sabbatical to hype the Appalachian Trail. So you are alone, and you need to figure out how to do this. So this is a real conversation I had with ChatGPT. I was using ChatGPT 4, but I also practiced it on ChatGPT 3.5, the free tier, and it's very similar. So I'm gonna just go through this. I'm gonna go from 0 to working code mod using just ChatGPT. And I'm actually going to quit before I get a fully working code mod. So I'm gonna get 80% of the way there, and then I'm going to turn it over to the rest of us instead of finishing it with ChatGPT, because it kind of scares me sometimes. All right, so I asked ChatGPT, here's my JIRA ticket, here's an example. Can you help me understand what on earth this means? Help me generate a custom code mod and understand how to use it. And then it gave me a bunch of gibberish about what code mods are and how to generate them. And then it gave me code. So I took the code and I copied and pasted it. And I didn't read any of the text. All right, so I'm going to run this code. Oh wait, did I not? All right, sorry. Oh, it gave me more things. Now I'm gonna try it. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, 10 errors. That's not good. So then I said, hey, ChatGPT, that did not work. And it gave me more things about how to do it myself. And I ignored all of that and told it what the error was. And then it told me what the error meant. And then some more code. So let's copy paste and run that. Hey, 10 okay. Well, let's check it. All right, so I wanted to migrate my imports. Oh, that's a little bit small. Whoa, that's a little bit big. Okay. Let's do this one. Nope, sorry. All right, so I wanted to change my imports, and it did it. But, who's ever worked in a code base that's as perfectly sanitized as this before? Nobody. So let's see, did it do it right? What about, this one has 2 lines. All right, that's fine. What about this one here? Oh, no, it totally did that one wrong. Okay, so we're 80% of the way there. And this is where it even gave me more information that I totally ignored. So the benefits. Let's talk about the benefits here. The benefits of using this. As writing the prompt, you have to learn how to explain a problem well. If I was to go to a coworker with this exact same problem, and I said, hey, that didn't work, they're gonna say, okay. What didn't work? What's the error? And I had to give ChatGPT the same error. So this is useful if you have a hard time interfacing with people. It actually is like practice, which is kind of nice. You learn to ask for more information. You're occasionally lied to by someone that you trust. And that's always useful. Sorry. And you become familiar with new patterns and concepts quickly. So if I actually had read through the things that ChatGPT told me before it gave me code, and so here's the real conversation. You notice it's not super long, and just pro tip, you start by saying like hello, but you should always say thank you at the end for the same reason. You never know. AI revolution. So if you read through the advice that it gave you, it actually gave some really helpful advice on how to understand what the code mod is doing, what the concepts are of the code mod. And from there, you can solve that one little problem that's left on your own. I actually think, from experience, I could tell it that that problem still exists, and it would give me a code mod that works. Let's try it. So this is real. I'm connected to the internet. I have plenty of time now, so I'm just going to try it. Let's see. I'm going to just stash these changes so that we can go fresh. So let's just do reset. Let's just reset. All right, so now we're back to where we were, and I've got my code mod, but it didn't correctly update this file because I have a weird import. So let's ask ChatGPT to fix that. That worked really well. For every case except this one. I don't actually know if you need the this extra stuff. I think ChatGPT can do just fine without it, but I'm gonna see what it says. So it's telling us about edge cases. Who's heard of an edge case before? Everyone should raise your hand. This is me trying to get you to participate. All right, almost everyone. Yeah, this is an edge case if you haven't heard of one before. And so it's giving me a code mod, and it's telling me how it works, and I actually don't know if this will work. One of the interesting things is I actually ran into a similar problem like this at work, and I used ChatGPT to help me solve it because I was restricted by corporate policy. I wasn't allowed to use JS code shift. And so I had to use the TypeScript compiler to do it. And I told it that, and it gave me code that worked in the TypeScript compiler environment. And then there was I skipped a step. It actually gave me code that worked in a library that was written on top of the TypeScript compiler, but I wasn't allowed to use that either. So I told it that, and then it gave me the working TypeScript compiler code mod. All right, so with this enhancement, the code mod should be able to correctly transform this. So let's copy paste. I didn't read any of it. Well, why should I? I have AI. All right, I'm just gonna replace this one so that I can just run the same script. 10 OK, all right, let's take a look. Let's take a look, it was file 5. It worked, mostly. All right, I have extra time, and I have already gotten this pre-approved to talk about why my favorite Star Wars movie is better than your favorite Star Wars movie. No, that's not pre-approved? Okay, all right, never mind, not approved. Thank you, everyone.